पाकिस्तान की स्थिति क्या है कि 1 किलो आटा 200 रुपए में मिल रहा है।
इतने किसान के बच्चे हैं तो मिलेट्स कोई नई बात है इनके लिए।
And in conclusion, sir, are you going to shut him up, sir? Sir, are you going to shut him up, sir?
ये गुहार लगानी है सर, क्योंकि हम जिस स्थिति से ये देश गुजरा है 2 साल कोविड के पीरियड में, उसके बाद ये अपेक्षित नहीं था देश को इतना स्टेबल रखना। फाइनेंशियली, इकोनॉमिकली अगर हमने देखा तो आज हम 10वें नंबर से 5वें नंबर पे आए हैं। अगर बाकी कंट्रियों को हम देखते हैं तो आज पाकिस्तान की स्थिति क्या है कि 1 किलो आटा 200 रुपये में मिल रहा है। यूरोप की स्थिति, अमेरिका की स्थिति अगर हम देखेंगे, मुझे लगता है ये हाउस में जो अच्छी चीज़ें हैं उसका उल्लेख करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। जितना भी नेगेटिव बोलना है, सिर्फ नेगेटिव पे नेगेटिव, फार्मर्स को किस तरीके से मदद कर रही है ये सरकार। मुझे लगता है कि देश के फाइनेंशियल हमारे जो मंत्री हैं, कराड़ साहब हैं, निर्मला सीतारामन जी हमारे देश की प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी हैं, उन्होंने देश को डूबने नहीं दिया। इस स्थिति के बाद, कोविड के बाद उसे उतना मेंटेन रखा और उसे उतना बजट दिया कि आगे देश बढ़ने के लिए जो लाइन चाहिए उसके लिए काम किया, ना कि आज ये सर रूडी साहब, ये नई स्थिति आई है कि जो दूसरे देशों में कि 200 रुपये किलो आटा मिलने की स्थिति हमारे देश की आज नहीं है। वो उसका पूरा क्रेडिट हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को जाता है, उसके बारे में बात करनी चाहिए। मैंने हमारे बहुत सीनियर अंकल हैं कोलकाता से, वो बोल रहे हैं आवास योजना की बात उन्होंने यहाँ पर रखी कि आवास योजना 22 तक ये कंप्लीट होना चाहिए था, देश के हर महिला को उनका घर मिलना चाहिए था, उसके लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने वादा किया था। मुझे बताइए कि ये घर में, ये फ्लोर पे या प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आवास का वादा किया था तो वो उसके लिए पूरा करने के लिए भी फंड हर इसमें बजट में वो घोषणा कर रहे हैं कि हर महिलाओं को उनका पक्का मकान मिलना चाहिए। कई त्रुटियां होती हैं कई राज्यों में, राज्यों के प्रॉब्लम के वजह से वो फंड नहीं देते करके वो जो प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जो आवाज़ है, वो पूरा नहीं हो सका। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो वादा किया, हमने जितना समझता हमारी उम्र के हिसाब से, हम पहली बार ये पार्लियामेंट में आए, पर हमारी अपेक्षा प्राइम मिनिस्टर से बहुत ज़्यादा है। स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्री, एमएसएमईज को 2 लाख करोड़ देकर उन्हें मजबूत करने का काम किया है। 2 लाख करोड़ इज़ नॉट अ स्मॉल अमाउंट सर। कोविड के बाद इतनी अपेक्षा नहीं थी कि स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज को, एमएसएमई को इतना मजबूत करने के लिए इतना बड़ा फंड देके उन्हें जो टैक्स में रिलैक्सेशन दिया है। कुछ त्रुटियां, कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं कि आने वाले समय में वो प्रॉब्लम्स हमें एमएसएमई वालों के लिए सॉल्व करना चाहिए। और अमृत भारत स्टेशन योजना के अंतर्गत सर 25 और 27 तक हमारे महाराष्ट्र में काफ़ी रेलवे स्टेशन लिए कि मॉडर्न रेलवे स्टेशन उसे बनाना है। उसमें बंडेरा स्टेशन है जो 25 तक पूरा होगा, 27 तक हमारा अमरावती स्टेशन है और भुसावल डिवीज़न के जिसे हम रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं बहुत सारे स्टेशन, उसका भी नया काम होगा। सर कौन कहता है महाराष्ट्र को पैसे फंड नहीं दिए गए? हम महाराष्ट्र से एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट को रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं। 2022 और 23 में 11,000 करोड़ रुपीस महाराष्ट्र को दिए गए थे, रेलवे बजट में आवंटित किए गए थे। और 23 और 24 में 13,500 करोड़ रुपीस दिया है। तो कौन कहता है बजट में हम नीचे गए? बजट में हमने बढ़ोतरी की है।
The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident." Parliaments the world over are known for what is said in their halls. The British Parliament is testament to some of the greatest sparring matches, some of the greatest debates, but most important for some very pertinent issues that have been perhaps very uncomfortable for some people sitting in the halls. This House too has historically seen some of the greatest debates, some friendly, some not so friendly matches, but it has more or less been a sacred space where elected representatives could speak their mind without fear or favor. Today, and I say this with a heavy heart, the Lok Sabha is a space which stands out more for what cannot be said in its halls than what we can say. The list of unmentionables is actually far longer than the list of mentionables. It is as though the treasury benches get training in a special camp that teach them to react hysterically the very instant a member of the opposition utters certain words, no matter in what context. We cannot say China, we cannot say Pegasus, we cannot say BBC, we cannot say Morbi, we cannot say Raphael, and sometimes we cannot even say Modi ji. It is on this precarious floor of eggshells that we, the members of the opposition, are forced to walk on every day. Treat a little hard, speak a little loud, and the treasury benches hammer you down with brute force. The Honorable President's address speaks about the biggest bane of our country being corruption and crony capitalism. The address says, the government is of the firm opinion that corruption is the biggest enemy of democracy and social justice. Therefore, there has been a relentless fight against corruption in the last few years. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in the system. We have ensured that the honest will be honored in our system. I'm reading from the Honorable President's address, the very same president that you are loving to laud. There is increasing social consciousness in the country that there should be no sympathy for the corrupt in this society. An effective system has also been put in place to end the practice of favoritism and corruption in government machinery. The Honorable President ends her address by saying, and I quote, "Let us fulfill the oath of the Constitution by walking on our Kartavya Path in this Mahayagna of nation building." Honorable Chairperson, sir, as a responsible public representative, as a member of this opposition to whom this House belongs, I am walking on my Kartavya Path by having the courage, in spite of all of you shouting, to speak about what I'm going to speak. Every word I utter is going to be an oblation, an offering of truth into my Mahayagna of nation building. I want to talk about the most famous person in India today. Unfortunately for this House, it is not the Honorable Prime Minister. It is a man whose name starts with an A and ends with an I. And no, it is not Advani. For the purposes of this speech, let me just call him Mr. A, and his group, the A Company. I want to start off by saying, as an ex-investment banker, I want companies to thrive. But I want honest, hard-working Indian companies to strive, and not trapeze artists, as an MP colleague of mine likes to say. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've all been fooled. I brought this topi with me.
I will just remind you. Your party has only 12 minutes.
Yes,
12
sir.
minutes for you. Confine. आप बैठिए.
I will finish in 12 minutes, sir.
आप बैठिए.
I have brought this topi
आप बैठ जाइए.
with me.
बैठ जाइए. आप डिस्टर्ब मत करिए, बैठ जाइए.
I have 12 minutes, sir. Please let me finish in 12 minutes. The chair always asks me not to get angry. I will not be angry for what I have to say. I will only say that we've only been fooled. I have brought this topi with me because this man, this wonderful nation. I will start with wearing this topi. I have some extra for others who feel the same.
Please don't do that.
I want to summarize this story by simply saying, a company who in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender, or have to get a regulated return, I want to summarize this story by simply saying, a company who's in infrastructure, where you have to win most things by tender, or have to get a regulated return, cannot have high multiples when it is growing with debt.
Issues of unemployment, recession, poverty, inflation, growth versus inflation challenges, import and export imbalances. Sir, one of the Union Cabinet Ministers was in Pune district about 2 weeks ago, and he, in one of his speeches, mentioned that India is going to go into recession by June. So I see the disparity and a challenge in this government, because the Honorable Finance Minister talks nothing about employment, recession, poverty, inflation. But there are 3 or 4 places where it's highlighted. Her colleague in the cabinet talks about India going into recession by June. So what is the government stand? The finance minister is not talking about recession, but the Union Cabinet Minister is talking about recession on record. So what is the real picture? Because what we read in the media, what is happening around us is slightly different. Sometimes I feel this entire government is like a fairy tale. They have an alternative reality. I heard one of the honorable speakers talking about cooperative movement. I was so happy. कोऑपरेटिव मूवमेंट महाराष्ट्र और गुजरात में, कर्नाटका में बहुत अच्छा चला है. आज इस सरकार को देर आए दुरुस्त है, लेकिन कॉरपोरेटिव्स को प्यार होने लगा. ये अच्छी बात है, मैं उसका स्वागत करती हूँ. उसके बाद ऑर्गेनिक्स, अच्छी बात है. आई वेलकम इट. आई एब्सोल्युटली वेलकम इट. The organic farming, sir, that is a very concerning and alarm. I'm not taking away from the intent of the government. I welcome the step of organic farming. We welcome it. But I put a small caveat to it. Sri Lanka, which is our neighboring country, proposed and promoted organic farming and had a huge food crisis. I'm saying this purely academic, not as a criticism. It is just a suggestion I'm making to this government that organic is a good step forward, but with the kind of infrastructure, the entire agriculture land is going for roads, infrastructure, which is natural, happens everywhere in the world. But our population is not going down. The number of mouths they are feeding are as many, if not more. So if we are going to depend on organic, will you be able to look at our food for all program, which is a challenge. So I want to flag it for jingoism. It sounds wonderful, but I hope the government is alarmed and is aware. It's okay to give speeches, it sounds wonderful. And it's appalling to me. इतने किसान के बच्चे हैं तो मिलेट्स कोई नई बात है इनके लिए. बोलते हैं कि हम गांव से आते हैं, गरीब है, शोषित है, पता नहीं क्या क्या भाषण करते हैं, अच्छी बात है. लेकिन मिलेट्स, हम तो जब से पैदा हुए मिलेट्स खा रहे हैं. महाराष्ट्र में, कर्नाटका में तो ये श्री अन्ना, ये शायद बहुत लोगों के लिए नया होगा. मेरी माँ के घर में आज ही बाजरा और ज्वार और यही चलता है, दूसरा कुछ नहीं. ना पास्ता चलता है, ना गेहूँ की रोटी भी ज़्यादा चलती है, क्योंकि किसान के हर घर में ये कोई नई बात नहीं है. तो ये और एक जिंगोइझम जो सुरू किया महाराष्ट्र में, आप किती मराठी माणसाच्या घरी गेला तर आपल्याकडे भाकरी असते की आपल्याकडे सकाळी चपाती संध्याकाळी भाकरी असते. कौन सी बड़ी बात है इसमें? But I really want to bring it that I appreciate, but they should look into it. Sir, you are talking about poor people. Manikam Tagore, my colleague, talked about a very, very sensitive and important subject of the pension scheme, which is called ESOP. Now, I really want to know, they met, this is the National Agitation Committee. I still remember, unfortunately, with great humility and lot of respect in my hand, I'm quoting Shri Arun Jaitley ji. If you remember, before he became the finance minister, when he was leader of opposition, he had gone to this agitation. Please don't get me wrong, with great respect, I'm taking his name, I'm not criticizing him, because I have a lot of regard for Arun ji in my heart. I'm just putting the context, that's all. So there were 60 lakh pensioners who have been on एक दिन की भूख हड़ताल की उन्होंने. पेंशनर्स है सर, और वो 4 मार्च को माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को मिले थे और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उनको वायदा किया था कि जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है उस पर हम अमल करेंगे. He committed them. I'll tell you sir, I'd like to tell you what, and coincidence, भगत सिंह कोश्यारी जो हमारे गवर्नर साहब हैं, उनकी एक कमेटी थी और उसने कोई रिपोर्ट दिया था. उसके बारे में इस सरकार ने 9 साल में कुछ नहीं किया अभी तक. And the commitment the Honorable Prime Minister had made in the meeting that he had given, he had met them, to be precise, on 4th of March. He had committed to give all these pensioners who have worked very hard and given money. Sir, these pensioners have contributed 417 rupees, 541 rupees, 1215 rupees every month from their salary, sir. And what is the monthly pension they're getting? It varies from 460, 460 रुपया, sir. आप सोचिए, आप संवेदनशील है, आपको पता है 460 रुपया में क्या किसी का होने वाला है. So I'm just making a suggestion to this government. Why not, like you have a GST council, why don't you take all governments, because this is not only our problem. There's the old pension scheme. Now Chhattisgarh, I think Punjab, and 2-3 other states, Rajasthan, have started the old pension scheme. So why don't we all put like a GST council? Why don't you put something? Because this is a problem in every state. It's not only in my state or your state or your state. Why don't you make a good council for pensioners? They have built this nation. We have inherited nation from them. So I request you that please get all these old pensioners together, do a council, and let's see how we can work together for the states and the state to work together. So that is really. Sir, ये अमृत काल की बात करते हैं. I want to ask them, today's, I'll make it very short now, only questions, sir, that the cess that this government collects for education, now everybody is saying education में कम पैसा आया है, even the ASAR report says that. Same situation for health. So if so much cess is connected for health, for education, for agriculture, where does it go? Now the other question, sir, is for this किसान बहुत मैंने सुना, अच्छा लगा मुझे किसान का सुन के. लेकिन 2 pointed questions I want to ask, because I want to know from this government. This PM Kisan payment, 6,000 रुपया आप डालने वाले थे, आपने कहा कि 8,000 डालेंगे. I welcome it. 16 करते तो और डबल ताली हम लोग बजाते आपके साथ. लेकिन because the cost of cultivation has gone up by 20%. So I expected more for this over-generous government. But I want to ask, the expenditure in this budget shown is at the same. So same number of farmers, same amount of money, then should this 60,000 crores become more? Now, market intervention scheme, I still remember, sir. It was a wonderful scheme. We also supported it. So if the market intervention scheme had 1,500 crores, how come it's only 1 lakh? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a typing error. You must find out, sir, what it is. They're all boasting about the PLI scheme, sir. What is new in the PLI scheme, sir? Please explain to me. There is nothing for the new sector in this government. MSMEs की इतनी बात करते हैं. Half of them are sick after this. We really need to look into it, sir. And 2-3 very short points, I'll make it. Sir, in this, the ATC deduction, which Premchandran ji also talk about. Sir, what will happen? I'm not a capitalist, nor I'm a socialist. I do understand you have to take the middle path if we are going ahead in this government. For the future, because we are a global economy, we are a global player, we are not insulated anymore like we used to be. My question is now all these tax benefits which you're giving, and it's sounding, it's again jingoism, sir, but I would like to ask this government that if in this tax benefit you are not encouraging them to invest in LIC. So if you're not going to invest in LIC, what is going to happen to our insurance? You want the whole country to be insured. Not even 4-5% people in this country are insured, sir.
No,
so
please.
this, and one last point, sir, about cooperative federal. Just last, I promise I have lots to speak, but I'm only taking. So in cooperative federalism, this was late Arunji's favorite word. He used to give confidence to every state, even if we have ideological differences. I would like to bring to this notice that if there is cooperative federalism, you want to help the states, why is it not reflecting in this budget? Sir, according to the 14th Finance Commission, you are supposed to give 42% of this tax reverse is supposed to be given to states. We were at 33%. In this budget, it is 30.4. अगर आप मुख्यमंत्री बन के जाएंगे तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी. So everybody has to think, sir, we cannot do this to the states. States are just recovering from the pandemic. So how will states
Shri
survive?
Ram Shiromani